cunning workman, and in addition to be a cunning workman, he was an embroiderer. The word embroiderer here, Strong's number 7551, is racham, and it means something variegated. Have you ever seen a variegated rose? It's a rose that's striped, or listen to this. This is one of those cliches or catchphrases. It means multicolored. And so, as soon as I saw the word variegated, I instantly think of the coat of many colors of Joseph. And by the way, I personally believe that the coat that they fought over that Yeshua had would have also been a coat of colors. The word racham means to mix colors, skillfully wrought, to be formed and shaped. What you got here is the last day's picture of the bride who, with the word Messiah, after having been deaf, dumb, and silent for a time, would again be engraved with the word and esteemed worthy to be skillfully adorned with a coat of colors. Isn't that powerful? Oh yes, it can be seen. It's there. The next verse, verse 24, tells us something else interesting. It says, all the gold that was occupied for the work and all the work of the holy place. Well, whenever you look at the word gold throughout Torah, it represents righteousness and holiness. And if you look at the word work here, it's the word melachah, translated work or property, or something like a mission. How many of you have ever had a mission from Yahweh? I know what you're thinking. Yeah, mission impossible. However, the word melachah can be seen in Ezra chapter 10, verse 13. The reason I'm looking at Ezra, because Ezra and Nehemiah and Esther and Daniel and Ezekiel were all contemporaries one with another. I ain't saying they were in the same denomination, but they all lived at the same time. The word melachah is used in Ezra 10, verse 13, in conjunction with divorcing a foreign wife. They had taken wives to themselves against the word of Yahweh. They had prostituted themselves to pagan gods, and Yahweh said, get them out. Well, the word foreign here is the word strange, and it's Strong's number 5237, pronounced nokri. The word nokri is a word used for a harlot wife. You understand what I just said? This is a shadow picture of the bride. While the bride was in Egypt, the bride was a harlot wife. Are you with me? Well, the gold that you see being talked about here is used in the mission given to Messiah of dealing with the divorce of the harlot bride. In other words, the gold was the dowry, the bride's price. So y'all seeing that? Okay? It represents the person of Messiah whose righteousness is imputed to us. The word gold, zehav, ze meaning lamb, av meaning father, the father's lamb. It could also be ze with the baked, the lamb of the house. Well, as we started looking at it, we see that this particular verse is followed hard on its heels with the description of the silver half shekels. As a matter of fact, if you go back and look in Exodus 30, 15, and 16, it mentions the fact that every man would be ransomed with the price of a half shekel. Did you hear what I said? Silver, then, is the price of redemption. Whenever you see silver mentioned, it's usually connected with a redeeming quality or redeeming an individual or redeeming something. Well, the word for atonement there in Exodus 30, 15, and 16 is spelled the same in both places with the same consonants. The vowel points are changed. One's kafar and the other's kippur. Both of those can mean to cover, to atone, to ransom, to redeem. And as we started looking at it, it reminds us, if you looked at the gematria of the word kafar or kippur, the gematria of it is 300. And we looked at that during this past week's teaching on the Torah portion. Because we looked at Gideon and the fact that Gideon represented another testing process where the bride of Yahweh was separated. The fearful were sent back, remember? Out of the 30,000 that assembled to do battle against the Midianites, the vast majority of them were sent back because they were fearful and afraid. It left a category that distinctly mentions two different people, two different groups. And if you'll look with me in Judges chapter 7, 5 through 10, here's how Yahweh tests them. Y'all want to look at it? you'll see he's going to talk about the willing-hearted and the wise-hearted. Same thing you saw in last week's Torah portion. Turn to your neighbor and say, excuse me, which one are you in? Well, can I tell you how you can be considered wise-hearted? Would you like to know? You got to learn to lap water like a dog. That's how they were tested. If you can lap water like a dog, you're wise-hearted. That's what it says in the King James English, Judges chapter 7, verse 5. Everyone that lappeth water with his tongue as a dog laps, him shall you set by himself. Likewise, everyone that bows down on his knees to drink. In other words, that's how he segregated the house. Willing-hearted, wise-hearted. Ones that bow down on their knees to drink, willing-hearted. The ones that lap water like a dog, wise-hearted. That's what it tells you in the King James English. If you're satisfied with that, go out and lap water like a dog. See if that gets you into the wise-hearted camp. But if you'll break this down in the Hebrew, it says something else. The word for lappeth here is the word lakak. And of course, it means to lap, to lick. Say that 3 times. Lap, lick. But it also means to receive. Listen to this. To receive. To take in. To gather. I hope you're lapping up tonight's Torah portion. Well, what were they lapping up, receiving, and taking in? The mayim, the living water. Oh, I'm beginning to see a little bit different picture of lapping water like a dog. The word for tongue here is lashon. You're to lap the living water on your tongue. Pay attention now. And the way that you do it will cause you to be likened unto a dog. Not just to so off the chain it don't even fit here. That works. A dog off the chain. But I believe it's literally compromised in the King James English. The word for dog is the word Caleb or Kalev. And they even say that the word Kalev can mean a temple prostitute. But if you break it down in the Hebrew language, you have Kaf, Lamed, Vav, bait, rather. Are y'all with me? Kaf, Lamed, bait. The Lamed bait gives you the Hebrew word for lev. What does that mean? Heart. If you put the kaf as a prefix in front of it, it means from or like. So the individual who's named Caleb is exposed as one, whatever comes out of his mouth is like the heart, from the heart. It's actually inferring from the heart of Yahweh. So a Kalev is one who is like the heart of Yahweh. Are y'all seeing that? If you begin to break that down, it's basically telling you, every one of you that will take the living water of the Word of Yahweh on your tongue from out of your heart will become wise-hearted. What's the living water? The Word of Yah. And if I take it on my tongue, I'm intentionally putting it on my tongue. Do you mean that that's inferring, brother, that I'm speak the Word? Exactly right. That's telling you if you'll lap the water up on your tongue, if you'll take and put the Word of Yahweh on your tongue, you'll become one who speaks the Word. And the only way you can do that, it has to be from the heart, a kalev. Because out of the abundance of your heart, your tongue will speak. Can y'all see that? Now, a wise-hearted individual is one who has the living water of the Word on the inside, and from his heart it's spoken off his tongue. Fits together, doesn't it? It mentions Gideon, and I'm trying to tie all of these fibers together into one beautiful tapestry. I hope that you're seeing it. The word Gideon means to smite, to hew, to cut something off. The root of it is gadah, and it means to cut it off. Are you following me? And Yahweh told Gideon in verse 10, he says, Gideon, if you're concerned about going to the camp of the Midianites, get your armor bearer, your friend. The friend's name was Purah. Strong's number 6513. Did you know Purah spelt the same as para, which means heifer? Y'all missing this. Did you know what was sacrificed at the Pekudei gate? The Purah, the heifer. Do you realize what's being said? He says, Gideon, take the heifer with you. That wasn't his wife, by the way. It's a shadow picture of Gideon being like Messiah. Messiah and the heifer, the red heifer. What happens? They're the one that goes down and looks into the camp of the Midianites. Midianite means those that are in strife and contention, but there's another word, Midan, same as Midian, and that means a quarrel that has been started that can't be stopped. And the quarrel started between Yahweh and his bride when she became adulterous in Genesis chapter 3, could not be stopped unless somebody's cut off. And so the only way that Yahweh could stop this was to take the Messiah who would take the role of the red heifer, and he would go down and end the quarrel that couldn't be stopped. And he just took 300 with him. The word 300 is symbolic of ransom and atonement. By him taking the red heifer with him to atone for this quarrel that couldn't be stopped, it means you were ransomed. Can y'all see that? This is not hard. Well, if you look at the number 300, it's seen in Genesis chapter 6 when the ark was constructed. Yahweh said, look, pitch the ark on the outside. In other words, I always thought, fill the crack. Well, that would work, make it watertight and waterproof, but the word pitch is the word kafar. The gematria of it is 300, so you had a ransom on the outside. It's what kept it from sinking, from going under. But he also gave you the dimensions. It was 300 cubits by 50 by 30. 50 is the number of Jubilee, the bondage, the bondservant being set free. As a matter of fact, the Torah portion that you're reading now took place a day after Moses came down from the mountain, the second time on the Day of Atonement, the day that the year of Jubilee was declared. The number 30 cubits tall, is the Lamed. It has to do with the teacher bringing you to a place where you could be ransomed and set free. That makes me want to shout. Yeshua took that penalty upon himself. Now, I told you earlier, Isaiah 58:12 talks about you. You being charged with repairing this gate. See, if you're going to take the sum of the tabernacle, how many of you are willing to take the responsibility for counting the sum of the tabernacle? Are you willing? That means you're going to be charged with making sure that this thing's restored properly. And if you're like the children of Israel who were coming out of Babylon, been in bondage all this year, this thing's in disrepair. Everybody look at me for a second. You cannot argue with me and tell me that the quote-unquote body of Messiah is whole and complete today in this earth. It is in sad condition. It needs to be repaired. And so you're being tasked with restoring the tabernacle. I told you you're one that's going to restore the breach. Look with me in Isaiah 58. And we're getting ready to close. Can y'all hold on for just a second? Isaiah 58. It's right between 57 and 59, unless you're from the kiln. Isaiah 58, verse 12. This is beautiful. You could actually go back and read this entire book, but I'll start with verse 12. And they that shall be, did you notice that's in italics? That was not even in the original translation. And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places, praise Yah. And you'll raise up the foundations of many generations. And you'll be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in. Do you know what the word repairer is? It's the word gadar. It means one who walls off and restores. But you know it's the same word with just a little bit of difference of the root of the word Gideon, which means to cut off. And you'll become a restorer. That word is shuv. That means to return, to repair, to turn back, to return to the Torah. And the word for paths, restorer of paths, guess what? It's the word nasiv. It means path, pathway, one who travels a path. And if you remember, you saw that word earlier connected with the Nethinims, the restorers of the path, the people who were given to the tabernacle and charged with restoring it. And finally, you have the word dwell. The word 34:27 is yeshav. It means to dwell with, to marry. That yod in front of it, yeshuv, means I will, shuv, return. And so if you're one of those who takes the sum of the tabernacle, part of that is that you're responsible for seeing that people are ransomed.